Apparently, a contagious yawn is just someone hacking your body.
Well, actually...
Right now, reading these words, something is already happening in your jaw. There's a small tightness at the back of your throat, a faint pull under your ears, a whisper of an idea traveling down your chest. You did not decide to feel it. You were just sitting there, eyes on a screen, thinking about the word, and your body has quietly started loading the program. Maybe you have caught it already. Maybe your mouth cracked open before you finished the last sentence, and you glanced around to see if anyone noticed. You are not tired. You are not bored. You are perfectly awake. And yet the machinery is warming up anyway, ancient and automatic, older than your language, older than your name, waiting for the smallest excuse to fire. A picture of it would do it. The sound of it would do it. The word alone is apparently doing it right now. So let's watch it happen. Most people think a yawn means you are sleepy, or that a room full of yawns means everyone is bored to death. Well, actually, it is almost the opposite. A yawn is not your body giving up on the day. A yawn may be your body trying to sharpen itself, to snap back to attention, to cool an overheating engine and drag your mind back into the room. And the contagious kind, the one you just felt, is stranger still. It is not tiredness leaking from one person into another. It is a thread of connection you cannot see, running straight through the part of you that recognizes other minds as being like your own. The first person to take this seriously in a laboratory is a psychologist named Robert Provine at the University of Maryland, back in the 1980s. He does something almost comically simple. He shows people videotapes of other people yawning, and he sits there and counts. Around half of them yawn right back, on cue, triggered by nothing but a stranger on a screen. Then he pushes further. He asks people to simply sit and think about yawning, to picture it, to read the word over and over, and the mouth start opening anyway. No sleepy stranger required, just the idea, planted in the mind, blooming in the body. In a room where people are simply told to think about yawns, the majority of them crack open within 30 minutes, alone, with no one else present to blame. Provine is documenting the exact thing you're experiencing this very second, that a yawn can travel on nothing at all but a thought, that it can climb into your body through a screen, through a page, through the naked word itself. Then comes the question of why. And here the story turns to a researcher named Andrew Gallup, who arrives at a genuinely surprising answer. Your brain runs hot. It burns roughly a third of the energy your entire body uses, and heat is the enemy of a thinking machine. Gallup's idea is that a yawn is a radiator. That enormous gulp of cool air, the wide stretch of the jaw, the sudden flood of blood through the sinuses and the neck, all of it works like a fan in a heatsink to pull warmth away from an overworked brain and vent it back out into the world. In one experiment at the University at Albany, he has students press a pack to their own forehead while watching videos of people yawning. When the pack is warm, they catch the yawns like everyone else. When the pack is cold, the contagion nearly stops. Cool the brain down, and it no longer reaches for the fix. But cooling explains why you yawn. It does not explain why you catch it from me. For that, we go to Stephen Platek and Gordon Gallup, working in 2003. They line up people who catch yawns easily against people who never seem to, and then they test something you would never connect to, yawning at all. They test self-recognition, the ability to look at your own face in a photo and truly know it is you, and they test theory of mind, the ability to read what another person is secretly thinking or feeling. The people who catch yawns most easily turn out to be the same people who score highest on knowing themselves and on reading others, while the ones most immune to the contagion tend to score higher on traits that pull a person away from other minds and inward into isolation. The yawn, it turns out, is riding on the same wiring you use to feel your way into another human being. If that wiring is the key, it should switch on as a child slowly grows into empathy. And it does, right on schedule. A team led by Molly Helt at the University of Connecticut, publishing in 2010, gathers 120 children between 1 and 6 years old and yawns at them patiently, one by one. Picture the scene. A calm adult leaning in and yawning theatrically at a 1-year-old, then a 2-year-old, then a 3-year-old, and getting back only a blank, unbothered stare. The babies do nothing. Toddlers do nothing. And then, right around the age of 4, something clicks on, and suddenly the yawns start spreading through the older children. 4 is roughly the age when a child begins to grasp that other people have their own private, hidden minds. The contagion arrives at almost the exact moment the child learns that you are a separate person. And tellingly, it never fully arrives in some children on the autism spectrum, whose yawns spread far less easily than their peers. Now here is where it stops being about people at all. In 2008, a researcher named Ramiro Jolie Mascheroni, along with Atsushi Senju and Alex Shepard at Birkbeck in London, sits down in front of dogs and yawns at them. Real, theatrical, wildly exaggerated human yawns, right after catching the dog's eye. And 21 of the 29 dogs yawn back. The control condition, where the human just opens and moves the mouth without actually yawning, produces nothing at all. The yawn has jumped clean over the fence between 2 entirely different species. Your dog, dozing there at your feet, is quietly wired into your nervous system, catching a signal that started somewhere deep in the shared ancestry of mammals, and it runs deeper into our own family tree than that. In 2011, Matthew Campbell and the primatologist Frans de Waal show 23 chimpanzees videos of other chimps yawning. But they add a twist. Some of the yawning chimps on the screen are members of the animal's own group, familiar faces it sees every day. Some are strangers from a rival group. The chimps catch the yawns of their own group far more often than the yawns of the outsiders. It is the same bias you quietly carry in your own chest, in the warm pull toward your people and the cold wall against the stranger, written into something as tiny and involuntary as a yawn. Empathy, it seems, keeps a bouncer at the door, checking faces, even inside the mind of a chimpanzee. So if this contagion is built on empathy and on knowing other minds, then there should be a moment early on before it exists at all, and there is. Nadia Riceland at Durham University, using 4-dimensional ultrasound in 2012, watches fetuses yawn inside the womb, real yawns, carefully distinguished from a simple mouth opening, about 6 times an hour early in gestation. But those yawns are utterly solitary. They are not contagious, and they are not about sleepiness. A fetus yawns entirely alone, a private mechanism inside a brain that is still under construction, long before there's anyone to catch it from. The social yawn, the one that ties you to other people, has to wait. It cannot exist yet, because there is no one to be tied to. It has to wait for you to first learn, out here in the noisy world, that other people exist at all. And that is the quiet, strange truth buried in the tightness in your jaw. The contagious yawn is not really about sleep. It is a leak in the wall between you and everyone else. It is proof that you are not as separate, not as sealed off, as you feel yourself to be. Somewhere below thought, below choice, below the whole story you tell yourself about being one closed and private person, your body is constantly listening to other bodies and answering them without ever asking your permission. You cannot fully control it. You cannot reliably fake it. It fires when it recognizes another mind as being like yours, and it goes quiet for the strangers your ancient brain has decided are outside the circle. It is one of the most honest things about you, precisely because you never once chose to do it. Which brings us back to right now, to you, to the small pull you have been fighting, or losing to this entire time. You are perfectly awake. You are not bored. And yet somewhere in the last few minutes your mouth almost certainly opened. Your eyes may have watered a little. Your chest pulled in that same ancient breath. It happened because a stranger sat down to write about a yawn, and somehow that reached across all of this distance and pressed a switch inside you that you did not even know you were holding. You caught it from someone you will never meet. So go ahead. Stop fighting it. Let the last one out and feel, just for a second, how quietly and how completely you are connected to everyone else.